correct thing. So this study is Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka. It's Tanaka. He's just called Dr. Hiroshi in a lot of videos and stuff. But he was a Japanese researcher. And he works specifically with like neurology, like your brain and stuff like that. And so he did this study that was from 2011 to 2019. So this is over 8 years, where what he would do is he would find people who were over 80. So they were individuals, men and women who were over 80 years old. They had zero cognitive decline. So no dementia. They were very sharp. Their memory details were really good. Like they were sharp as a tack, right? And so he was trying to figure out, like, why do these people who are over 80 have such strong brains? Right? Like their brains are good. They have no decline, anything like this. It reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother lived to be 100 years old, sharp as a tack. Okay. And so he looked for things like, was it genetics? Was it their diet? Were they exercising? Were they sleeping? Like, what was it that gave them such good brain health? But there was no consistent pattern. Like everything he kind of discovered, there's nothing that kept these people, that you would say, okay, they all have this in common. But they had one habit. Every single one of the people that he followed, and they say it was over 300 people. They don't really know exactly, but over 300 people, they all had one common habit. And I'm just curious, in the chat, tell me, or in the comments, tell me, like, what do you think this habit is? Because I'm like reading this and I'm like, okay, what is this habit, right? Like, I'm thinking diet. I'm thinking, like sleep hygiene, like all of this, one habit. This blew my mind. They wrote by hand every single day for at least 15 minutes, like pen and paper, not typing, not texting, not using a digital tool, but physically writing. And it most of the time they were writing for personal reflection. So this was like journaling about their day, their thoughts, their problems, their morning routines, whatever, but they were physically writing. And so what they, as they research this, it's because your handwriting engages more of your brain area simultaneously. So apparently it takes like, this is wild, 17 neural pathways or like regions in order to write, versus when you type, you're only just using a few neural pathways. So when you're writing, it encodes like your motor control, your spatial reasoning, visual processing, your memory encoding, your attention. And so it's a very high cognitive, like what we call a cognitive load that keeps your brain really engaged, versus when you're just typing, it's a little bit more of like an autopilot. And so they've been able to do like MRI and brain imaging to kind of back this up. All right. So then what happened is, so they find this out and they're like, okay, so these people are writing and they're journaling. And I personally think, while this was not part of the study, that I also think that there was an emotional, spiritual, energetic benefit of journaling, of working through those emotions. So I'm going to do some more research on that, but like working through your emotions, working through your feelings and your thoughts, because I know that when Emily was going through cancer and I was dealing in my domestic violence and we were in the hospital and it was just such a horrible time in my life. And many of you guys know this, the whole way my book came out of that was me journaling. It was me literally just writing of like all the stuff that I was dealing with. And it helped me process emotionally all of that. So he's writing, right? So then they do this follow-up intervention, right? And so they looked for people who were between 65 and 75 who were starting to show memory loss. So these were people like had early signs of memory decline. And they had a part of that group, they had them write for 15 minutes every day. And then they had the other part of the group type for the same content, the same duration. So they have these group of people, right? They're all showing beginning memory decline. Half of them are writing for 15 minutes a day, pen to paper. The other half are typing. Here's what's crazy. In about 6 months, the handwriting group showed significant improvements. They had, and this is why I'm like, how is nobody talking about this? They had a 41 to 44% better word recall. They had 34% faster processing speeds after 6 months compared to the group that typed. And so what they found was that 15 minutes of daily handwriting on paper with intention, reflection, whatever, is literally a free way to save our brain health. Like, this is crazy. And what's wild to me is that I am talking to so many people who have family members who are younger than what you would anticipate dealing with dementia, like people in their 50s. And that's a whole other thing of like, why is that? Is that our food? Is that, whatever? But part of me now is going, is that because we're typing all the time? We're not writing. I know that when I go to a conference and we're in a class and we're taking notes and I see a lot of people typing, I'm still a writer. I am a writer. I have a notebook. I learned this early on in my career. I'll pass this tip on for you if it's helpful. One of my mentors, she taught this concept of a single subject notebook. And so I literally get them at the Dollar Tree, and you get one for every month. And I've had a lot of mentors who have built multi-million dollar businesses teach me this concept. And so it's the single subject notebook concept. And the idea is that you get one notebook for every month and that everything goes into the notebook. So like I track here, like all the people I'm talking to, who I'm booking, but it's also like notes, things I need to do, like anything that's in my brain goes into my notebook and I write it down. And I know that there's a different memory recall when you write something down versus you type it. So when I physically write something down versus I type it, I recall it different. I did an experiment. It wasn't an experiment. It was a fail. Let me say this was a flop. So years ago, I decided that I wanted a completely paperless office. I wanted to be entirely digitalized. And so I went through this season where I moved all of my client files, all of my customer files, everything, scanning everything, uploading everything, putting it all in Google Drive and Evernote because I wanted this paperless file. I had Excel sheets, everything else. I had my lowest rate of customer retention that year. So here I am thinking I'm being so technologically advanced, my lowest rate of customer retention. And it was literally because once it went into the cloud, it was like these people didn't exist. I didn't remember who they were. But when I had a physical paper that I was writing notes and I was keeping track of, okay, this is who she is and this is what we talked about, and this, my brain remembered them. So this is why even now I go to, and here's a tip if you network. So when I go to networking events, if I get a business card from somebody, I don't carry business cards. And I have a whole video on my YouTube about why I don't carry business cards. But I will, exchange contact information. I will text them my information. When I get home, I use my, again, Dollar Tree 3x5 cards, and I write down who the person was, my notes and their phone number, contact, whatever. And I use these because when I have a physical piece of paper, I've written it down. She doesn't just become some random stranger in a Google Drive. Now, if that works for you, I'm jealous because right now, if you could see, my desk has a stack of paper on it. I probably should kind of like show you. I'll show you guys. Like you can see, like there's, well, here, I'll take my look. I mean, there's literally a stack of paper here on my desk sitting here, right? So I would love to get to a spot where I didn't have, paper, but my brain needs the paper. And so I've always like kind of judged myself for this as oh gosh, what would you say is like there's something wrong with me that I can't just move all digital and it's an organization and I should be able to streamline. And this study made me go, no, this is why it's this physical journaling. Now, I will also say, during the hardest seasons of my life, I journaled consistently. And I actually feel, in full transparency, I feel like I had better mental health during those seasons that were the most stress-induced, scariest seasons of my life than I do now. I'm just going to throw that out there. I will tell you guys, I was up till 5 a.m. last night because I could not sleep. Tossing, turning, rolling in bed, scrolling, being like, why can't I sleep? Could not sleep. My brain is like, can't stop. And I did my red light therapy. I did my vibration therapy to get ready for bed. I didn't have any caffeine after 2 p.m. I did all of the things that we are supposed to do. Still could not fall asleep till 5 a.m. So I'm thinking, maybe the thing, it's kind of like the thing, right? Sometimes you have to do the thing that you don't want to do because that's the thing. We always are like, what do I need to do? What do I have to do to change? Or what do I need to do to get to the next level? Or what do I need to do to grow into my best version of myself or grow my business or start my business or whatever? And it's often the thing that we know is the thing that we don't want to do is the thing. And for me, I think partly, quote openly, it's journaling every day. It's going back to that. And here's why I don't do it, because in my mind, I think I have a gazillion things to do. Do you guys do this? I have so many things to do. It's not important. And what I'm realizing as I'm getting older is that it's the insignificant things in life that are the most significant. It is the very small insignificant things. It's the small insignificant habit of, do I have coffee the first thing that I drink when I wake up in the morning, and then it spikes my cortisol, and then that throws my body off on so many levels and hormones and everything else? Or is it that I just for 90 minutes don't, and I drink some lemon water or tea or whatever instead? Really insignificant, but significant. Do I take 20 minutes to journal, or do I dive right into my work? Again, insignificant, significant. It's these little insignificant habits that we do that start to create our life on a very significant, huge level. And so, if you like the system, if you feel like you're all scattered and overwhelmed and everything, I saw a good quote too recently that I liked, because we say to ourselves, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. Tell me in the comments, do you guys ever say this to yourself? I think this to myself. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm trying to juggle, different businesses and whatnot. And you guys know, if you have a business, then come work with me. And hey girl, you can. This is my membership. I love my members. I love pouring into them. We're creating a whole method right now where they're learning how to start, scale, and sustain a business. And so I've got that going on, and creating all the workbooks and the pages and teaching that. And I'm so excited to see women be able to use this and actually have a real tool, a real method that will teach them how to grow a business. I'm so excited about it, but it's a lot. It's on my brain, right? And then of course I have my own business, within the direct sales, and my team. And our goal this year is to have a record-breaking year, and trying out new things digitally, and trying to figure out how to streamline and hit everybody where they're at, for the people who want to work in person and the people who want to work virtually, and create that brand and show up consistently. And so my brain is like, so how many of you feel this way, right? So that's what we say. So the saying is rather than saying I'm so overwhelmed, saying, my body is signaling I need to slow down so I can really choose what's the most important next. Something to that effect. That's not the word to word, but my body is signaling I need to take a minute to slow down so I can really prioritize what's the next most important thing. And I thought, I really like that. I love that reframe. I'm not overwhelmed. It's my body is signaling, hey, you need to slow down for a minute so you can reprioritize, you can adjust to figure out what is the best next thing for you to work on. Do you love that? How many of you like that? I love that. So I'm curious, how many of you would be willing to try the journaling with me? I will say, I'm learning a lot about our brain health, social media, what's happening in culture, because it's just interesting to me. And I will say this, and Super Bowl is a great example. The Super Bowl used to be something that brought people together. We were just talking about this at home. It was like an American thing, right? Americans came together. They celebrated the Super Bowl. We play football different than the rest of the world with their soccer, right? It was this real, true American, bring people together. In the last few years, the Super Bowl has just been divisive. Not even this year. Let's not even talk about this year. Remember the Beyonce's was divisive. We were talking about the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake nipple thing that was people were freaking out over, right? So it's not just this year. It's usually, it's what was something that brought people together is a weapon now to divide people and cause distraction from what's actually going on. I'll just let that land, right? But a way to keep people angry. And here's the thing, when we're angry, when we're enraged, it changes our body. It changes the way our brain works. It changes our ability to think clearly. It affects our nervous system. It causes health problems. So there really is this, it's almost, my little conspiracy theory brain goes, it's almost like we're falling into the trap. It's like we are walking right into the trap. I was thinking about this morning. I just wonder can you imagine if everybody in our country just committed for 1 month, just 1 month, to only post positive things, Like, I just wonder what would happen. And I know there's going to push back on that. People are going to be like, we can't ignore what's going on and we can't ignore that. And I get that. I get that. Obviously I use Tara's voice. I think your voice is important and you should speak up for things that are important to you. And I think your voice is, deserves to be heard. Right. But I have people recently have said to me, I just completely shut down my Facebook account. It was just too negative. And I think we all know this, right? Like, is there anybody who actually changed their opinion on a Facebook post? Like, they saw a Facebook post and they went, yeah, my worldview has changed because of your Facebook post, right? So I always think when I want to go to post something, when I want to go to share something, I go, what is the end result of this? Like, is this really going to change somebody else's opinion? Is this just going to validate me and validate people who agree with me? Is this going to really get somebody else to say, aha, or is this going to cause strife and division? And I'm really big on, I truly believe we are more alike than different. I truly believe we really want the same things. We're just have different views of how to get there. And I truly believe there is an effort to keep us divided. That when people are divided and when people are angry and when people are fearful, they are easy to control. I truly believe that. It is a way to control people when you keep them a little off. And I will say this also, this goes back to my domestic violence. I was in a relationship with my ex-husband from 2000 until 2008, got divorced in 2009. That is a very long time. That is almost a decade with somebody. And people assume that it was physically abusive the whole time. It wasn't. It was the physical abuse at the end that caused me to get divorced. So how was somebody able to keep me in that situation to the point that, for those of you who don't know my story, I actually thought I was going mentally, I thought I was mentally ill. I thought I was actually going crazy at the end. And it's because when you're in an environment with somebody who like that constantly just keeps you a little on edge, a little on edge, a little on edge over time, that completely disrupts your nervous system and your ability to think clearly becomes distorted. There's a great movie, if you've seen it, it's a black and white movie from I think the 20s or 40s called Gaslight. I know everybody throws that term around now, which is really annoying because if you've never actually gone through somebody gaslighting you, like, it's people who just throw out everybody's a narcissist. Like, unless you've actually dealt with a real diagnosed narcissist, you don't know what you're talking about, right? So if you actually have not actually been gaslit, it's just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't mean they're gaslighting you, right? But I remember watching that movie and being like, oh my gosh, this is my life on film. How does somebody know my life? It was the creepiest thing. It was so creepy because I finally understood what was going on. But here was the thing. I was easy to control. I was easy to manipulate because I was always a little on edge. The environment that was created at home kept me a little on edge, kept me a little not trusting other people. That was one of the key modes of attack. Was my ex-husband started to pit people against me, that I couldn't trust this person, I couldn't trust that person. Some of them were my family members, that they were lying to me, that they were hiding things from me, that they had ulterior motives. And eventually I started, so the idea was, don't trust anything, don't trust any of these people, just trust me. Put all your trust in me. I'm the one who has your best interest in heart. I'm the one who's looking out for you. And I going through that season and coming out of that season, which felt like being kind of like unbrainwashed, I see what's happening in the world and I'm like, we're having that same big brother government. I'll be the one to protect you. I'll take care of you, or vice versa, right? These are just all the thoughts that are going on into my head this week. And so this is why, going back to what we started with, this hand to paper, is that I think we need to keep our mind sharp. We need to keep our minds sound. We need to be in a place where we are not reactive. We are not puppets. We're being controlled. That we can show up and respond with mental clarity and mental sharpness and mental focus in what we want. And if all we need to do is handwrite for 15 minutes a day, are you kidding? Are you kidding? That is all we need to do for our brain health. And I don't want to say all, right? But significant numbers. What, it was 44% improvement, 37% improvement. that's such an easy, cheap way that we could all do. So I'm curious, are you going to join me in this? Like, let's just write for 15 minutes a day and see what happens and see how our brain feels. Because if you're like me, my brain has been feeling tired. My brain has been overwhelmed with a constant input, constant input. I'm reading lots of research about like getting back into nature, turning off your stuff. And I do believe that this could be why we're having higher levels of dementia as we type everything, that we are literally destroying our brains in our quest for technology, in our quest for advancement, in our quest for improvement. And I'll leave you guys with this. I'll see you on Friday. But I read this quote of a woman, and she said, my family left Greece. They lived in this little village in Greece to come to America so I could have the American dream and a better life. And now I just want to go back and live in a little village in Greece. And that just hit so hard. I was like, not that my family is from Greece or came from a village, but I was like, yeah, every now and then I have these thoughts of like, let's just go homestead. Like, let's just go off grid and homestead and just get out of this craziness. So if you're with me on that, I'd love to know. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens and what kind of backlash. But I just thought this research study was fascinating. I wish people were talking about it more. If you know somebody who is struggling with mental decline, memory loss, early onset dementia, please share this study with them, because who knows, you might be able to help them just by them writing 15 minutes a day. How amazing would that be? So I hope you guys have a great day. Always, you can go ahead. These are the places to connect with me. Again, if you have a business and you are looking to start, scale, or sustain that business, come find me in Hey Girl You Can. We are right in the middle of the CEO Clarity Method. It is fire. It is so good. It is giving you every step that you need to build your business. This weekend, we're all going to be talking about lead generating marketing. Like, how do you find people? And this is just a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I moved around so much when I was starting my business, and we didn't have social media back then. And if you don't have a business, or you've always wanted to have a business, or you've thought, I'd love to work from home, I would love to have my own business, send me a DM. I'll share with you what I do and how I built my direct sales business. I think direct sales is just such a great profession for people who want to own a business who don't have a business background, because there's really there's not a lot of upfront entry fee. Like, it's cheap to get into. There's no real financial risk to get into it. And it's a plug and play system. It's a system for the person who wants to own a business, who wants the freedom and flexibility to scale, to really make a lot of money without overhead, without huge financial risk, huge financial investment. They can get there, and it's an even playing field, and there's already support built in. So it's one of the reasons I love direct sales as a profession, because it allows somebody like me who didn't have a business background and didn't invest tons of money into a business to be able to grow something that was really sustainable. So these are the places to connect me with. Send me a DM. Always love to hear from you, and I'll see you Friday. Bye, guys.